Hey, good morning. Let's get right to it. You know what's coming. I know what's coming. It's Elon Musk taking on Mark Zuckerberg. And ladies and gentlemen, it is going to happen in historic fashion in old Italy at apparently the Colosseum. See, that's what happens when you get seriously rich dudes together. Apparently, according to Twitter, on the Elon Musk Twitter, live stream will be on this platform, which is Musk's, and Meta, which is Zuckerberg's. Everything in camera frame will be ancient Rome. So there will be absolutely nothing modern at all. Does that help? I don't know. Does that hurt? Maybe. I spoke to the Prime Minister of Italy and the Minister of Culture. They have agreed on an epic location. My sense is Dana White and others are saying Zuckerberg against Musk is going to be in the Roman Colosseum. We're talking gladiators here. Yeah, we're talking let's have at it, old school. You know what? They should joust. There should be jousting before, real life jousting. They should do this in a variety of ways. They should joust, then they should bullfight, and then they should have these two guys fight. You see it right here, the announcement. Everything done will pay respect to the past and present of Italy, and all proceeds go to veterans. This is what I'm talking about. This is where we are at in the world. A couple of gladiators. Look, will I watch? If it's free, you're damn right I will watch. Will I pay for it? Man, I don't think so. What I would like to see is this. I would like to see a heavyweight title bout. I would like to see a UFC title bout. And then all leading up to the tech title bout. Musk and, of course, Zuckerberg. That's what I'd like to see. Let's just make it a night of champions. In fact, if it's in the Colosseum, hell, put a soccer field down, have a Premier League championship, then a heavyweight, then a UFC title, and then, of course, the Titans of Tech. Yeah, that's where I'm at with all of this, and I think you are too. My friend Bob Shelby said, hey, look, I'll wait for your recap, Dan. I ain't mad at you, Doc. I am not mad at you, Robert. I'm not mad. I understand people may watch, people may not watch, but at least, you know what we got? We got something interesting, and I'm all in on it. Like, you know, I get guys all the time, Dakich, I'm going to fight you for charity. Yeah, well, no one's coming to watch you. They're only coming to watch me. You know what I mean? And I'm too damn old. 60 years old, put them up, put them up. Almost had to throw hands on the golf course, but you get what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. This is the announcement. Zuckerberg versus Musk. Dana White confirms proposed $1 billion super fight between the tech titans could take place at the Colosseum in Rome after talks with Italian officials. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's the news of the day. It isn't that Anthony Richardson appears to be the QB1, as all the blogger boys say. Hell no. Oh, by the way, speaking of this, another day, another NFL stupid CEO Jed York is accused of insider trading and covering up a gambling cheating scandal. Now, here's what you got to understand about Jed York, and I said this yesterday. Did I not? You never hear anything bad, do you, about the San Francisco 49ers? Well, apparently you do. ML football has become a great site to follow. It really has. Jed York and part of the family, which owns a team, have been accused of insider trading, college cheating scandal via Chegg, and faces multiple lawsuits. York is accused, along with insider trading, for dumping the company's stock, earning $1.4 billion in profit by selling 20,000 shares at artificially inflated prices. Another day, another idiot involved in the NFL. One of the lawsuits, York engaged in insider sales before the fraud was exposed. This is about an online company that hid the role in helping students cheat during online exam. The lawsuits alleged that York and his colleagues, listen to this, at the online educational sport company sold off their Chegg stock at the top of the market without informing investors about the extent to which students were provided real-time answers to their exams. So they got this company, Chegg, which is a support company for students. They gave students answer to exam, which obviously is not right, which obviously is a scandal. Is that illegal? I really don't know. But what is illegal is when you sell a company not informing the regulators of what is going on in the company. If people thought there was a problem with this Chegg and providing students with online real-time answers, the company wouldn't have been as valuable. So old Jed Yorkie proves me wrong. I don't like being wrong, Jeb. I don't like being wrong. I don't like being wrong. But guess what? There is a problem with the 49ers, but it's not on the field. Listen to this. During the pandemic, students were increasingly administered tests online. They realized they could use Chegg to instantaneously get answers to their exam. When COVID restrictions eased, students were called back into classroom. Chegg's revenue and stock price plunged once pupils could no longer blatantly cheat using this site. But before all that happened, old boy got rid of the stock. So there you go. Another day. I got another one coming up too. I got another day, another NFL pain in the backside. Hey, by the way, I'm not done with you 49ers. No, I'm not. Jimmy Garoppolo is sad. Jimmy Garoppolo admits that Kyle Shanahan getting rid of him so easily made him sad. I mean, we're all people. You hear it, things like that. I just try to make the best of the situation. We've all been through hard things in life. Things are going to happen that don't go your way, and you've just got to make the best of it. As quarterback of a team, there are a lot of guys looking at you in that huddle, so you really can't show that side of it. You've just got to go out there and ball. That's the part. That's the hardest, but it's part of the job. He's sad because Kyle Shanahan didn't give him the love that Kyle Shanahan said, hey, you're of no use to me. You're of no value to me. I got to plug stuff in. So you know what, Jimmy G? As we say with my nieces and nephews when we play cards, we'll see ya. He gone. And you know what? Jimmy G is sad. Sticking with the NFL, sticking with NFL news, this is unbelievable. You know, I would argue, even though our guy David Hookstead has a great column up about his trip to Vegas, the good and the bad. And it involves porn stars. Yes, it does. It involves porn stars. I would argue that anything involving porn stars is not going to end well. Just my argument. Anything that involves football players and porn stars and a lot of money just is not going to end well. Let me tell you. So we talked about this idiot yesterday, Damon Arnett. Damon Arnett is a former Raiders first-round pick, picked by the idiot, the clown show that is John Gruden and Mike Mayock. This guy, Arnett, hasn't had much of an NFL career, considered kind of a bust. Guess what? Arnett is accused by a porn star named Denny Banks of stealing her Cartier watch, her phone, and her money. But that's not it. They say that this guy, Arnett, is a serial porn star stealer. That's right. He hangs with the porn stars and, he steals their stuff. You know what's cool? Karma's a mother. The way he acts and moves, he's either going to get killed or he's going to get locked up. Well, Arnett recently, and we talked about this yesterday, pled guilty to charges of drawing a deadly weapon and assault. Yeah. All right. Hey, I ain't mad at you. You do you, Arnett. You're an idiot. We know you're an idiot. And you continue to act like an idiot. And karma is a mother. Karma's a mother. I am not going to lie to you. Oh, let's stay with this. Buster Skine was arrested in Canada, former NFL player, for allegedly defrauding multiple banks for $100,000. Now, full disclosure, let me ask you guys on the YouTube chat, you gals on the YouTube chat, would you even have an idea how to defraud a bank? Would you even have an idea to go, hey, you know what, let's read. Skine purportedly posed as a retired NFL player, opening bank accounts with fraudulent checks, withdrawing funds before the checks cleared. Now, this idiot made over $40 million. 4 zip. That's 40. Comma. Zip, zip, zip. Comma. Zip, zip, zip. 40 million. I know there's taxes. So he cleared, let's say, 18 million. I ain't mad at you, Busta Rhymes. But the NFL, look, let me give you a piece of advice. Don't ever go into business with an NFL player. A former NFL player, a current NFL player, the old guy with 16 bad knees, 100-year-old NFL players, and don't ever go into business, other than a few of us, other than with an Indiana basketball player. Never go into business with entitled people. Never, ever, ever go into business with entitlement, because entitlement is always trying to, well, you know, I got this thing here. Well, you know, I mean, I got this deal here. Well, they're going to catch us. No. Jeez. Speaking, see the segue here, Aaron? Damn good right now, Gary. I just segued. Speaking of entitled, the U.S. women's national team. Oh, baby. All right, U.S. women's national team. The first moment, this is from the Netherlands star, Lynette Berstui. The first moment when I heard that they were out, I was just thinking, yes, because from the start of this tournament, they had already a really big mouth. They were talking about the final and stuff. I was just thinking, first, you have to show it on the pitch before you're talking. See, this is what I've been talking about. I don't care about the politics of this whole thing with the women's U.S. national team. I don't care. I've said this on this show. I've said this on Laura Ingraham. I've said this in radio interviews. I've said this anywhere I have been asked on Hot Mic. The political stuff didn't bother me. I don't care. I know that's who people are. But the unlikableness, there was nothing likable. And right here, the Netherlands star says it. They're just talking. And not in a fun way. Like when I talk to you, it's in a fun way. I'm a fun guy. I'm a mushroom, a fun guy. But anyway, they, ladies and gentlemen, were uninteresting. They were boring. They were verbose. They were arrogant. They just simply were unlikable. That doesn't have to do, in my opinion, with a whole lot of politics. I mean, we've heard politics before. Like, to me, Colin Kaepernick isn't unlikable or unhireable because of his politics. He's unhireable because he wasn't that good at the end. And when I watched this documentary, it took me about 2 minutes to go, yeah, this ain't a real one. This guy's not smart enough. This guy's not deep enough. He has the depth of the kiddie pool. So I'm like, I'm done. Doesn't have anything to do with politics or kneeling or any of that stuff. That didn't really bother me. You do you. But just be likable. I like what Lane Kiffin's doing. I like what Lane Kiffin is doing. Lane Kiffin is highlighting student athletes, non-football division across the country and the struggles that they're going to have. He has taken some players' Twitter, some young ladies that play softball out west saying, wait a second, I came here so I could play in front of family and friends. I came here to USC so I could play close to home. And now what? We got to go to Michigan, Michigan State, Rutgers. Who the hell lives Michigan, Michigan State, and Rutgers? Who the hell that plays West Coast softball wants to play out there? Here you go. I chose to play in the Pac-12. I'm going for the bottom one from Shannon because of the ability to play close to home in front of my family. I chose the Pac so my family didn't have to worry about far travel, giving up all their vacation time just to come see me. This affects athletes in every sport and academics. Lane Kiffin's response, sorry, they obviously didn't think about how it would affect the ones that actually have to play, travel, and go to class the next day. I will say this to you. I will say this. This is what you wanted. This is what the public wanted. The public and the media wanted everybody to get paid. They wanted athletes to get paid. They want more. Last time you talked to or saw Jay Billis talking about college basketball, what are you talking about? You got to pay the players. More money. Money this, money that. There's not enough money. There is enough money. Whenever you hear about the greatness of the Big Ten Network, what do you hear about it? The programming's mediocre. The announcers stink. But the truth of the matter is, because of the games that they have, guess what? People watch. Revenue is shared. Millions go to each school. Everybody sees that. That's considered a good thing. You can't start complaining now when this is what everybody wants. What did coaches want? Coaches wanted tens of millions of dollars a year. Nick Saban, $9 to $11 million a year. Lane Kiffin, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $9 million a year. How are you paying for that? You think you're just paying for that by waving a magic wand, putting a student fee in? You think Nike's paying for all that? No, they're paying for some, a lot. Adidas paying for some, a lot. Guy in Indiana, Mike Woodson. Mike Woodson, I've never understood this. I've said this forever. Guys would coach in Indiana for $500,000. There's no reason to pay a guy $5 million. Guys that coach in Kentucky for $500,000. No reason to pay a guy $9, $10 million. No reason. Schools have screwed this up, and now coaches have taken advantage. In certain ways, athletes have taken advantage. Athletes wanted more. Give me more. Well, you got more. How are you going to pay for it? You pay for it by moving into the Big Ten, getting Big Ten Network money. You pay for it by moving into the SEC, getting that ESPN money. And all of a sudden, everybody's complaining? Fine, complain. I don't blame student athletes for complaining, but this is what everybody wanted. Everybody wanted more. I said two things. One, you better protect the schools. You didn't. And two, you better protect the sport. You haven't. That's all I've said. More. Hey, look, hey, young lady, that laptop and that lobster that you're eating, money's got to come from somewhere. Certainly not generated by softball, certainly not generated by volleyball, certainly not generated by baseball. So it's generated by football. School's got to move into a league. You want more? You got more. Now you're complaining because to get more, you got to travel. Hey. NFL legend, Super Bowl hero Terrell Owens offers a sobering thought on the league. He says today's NFL would have killed me. Today's game would have killed me. It's funny how I coach youth football, coach the old school way for running backs, but most of my periods with them are spent running routes because I know that's where the game is. I can't get them stuck in the 90s where it was all about how you run, zone, and wide zones, and counters, and draws. They're not running that stuff now. I'm giving them some of it, but most of what I give them is pass protection, receiving drills. I want them to be up with the times so that when they go to the next level, they are not behind. It's interesting. I guess if I had an athletic son that was coming up in football, I think I'd make him a wide receiver or, I don't know, Deebo Samuels. You can run inside, you can run outside, you can go catch passes. Texas A&M kills a controversial NIL fund after an IRS memo. Now, here's the deal. Everybody says Texas A&M got the most scratch. Texas A&M got the biggest wallet. Texas A&M got the big deal. They got them all. They got everything. They got it all. Damn it. Well, guess what? The IRS said, hang on there, Skippy. Hang on, Skippy. We want to see what in the hell's going on around here. And them old boys in Texas said, hey, look, I'm going to tell you something. We're going to keep doing this. I don't give a damn what you say. I don't give a damn how this goes. We got the money. We're going to spend that money, and we're going to, by God, we're going to give it to these athletes. And I'm telling you what, Jimbo's going to bring us home. Jimbo's going to bring us a championship, and he got Bobby Petrino right now. And Bobby Petrino, we know he was on the back of that bike with that girl, but hell, she's a pretty girl. So that makes it all right. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. It makes it all right. Look, Texas A&M, that's great. The IRS is after you. See, here's my thing with the IRS, all right? My thing with the IRS is this. I feel like once the IRS starts digging into your stuff, I feel like you got a problem. I do. I feel like all of a sudden, time, my first time out, I think we got a problem here, kids, because it seems to me that the IRS does not stop with one little check. I feel like the IRS is one of those organizations that goes, hold on, we saw this, now we're looking at this. So here's the deal. They've shut down this 12th man program after reviewing directives from the IRS. The fund, I'm going to read right here from it, which attempted to bring name, image, and likeness collective efforts in-house, put their 501c3, their nonprofit status, in jeopardy. They shut down the fund after IRS released a memo which told NIL collectives their function doesn't fit within the confines of tax event status. They are, however, Texas A&M, allowing Jim Bob Cooter and the rest to put their money elsewhere. Well, if you go to Texas A&M, I'll tell you one thing you're going to get. You're going to get paid. I can't wait to have Governor Greg Abott on, because Governor Greg Abott of Texas did something that I love. He called out frauds. So Eric Adams is the the mayor of New York City. And he did what your little neighbors did. All are welcome here. There's no such thing as an illegal person. They put that sign, that rainbow sign, in their window. My neighbor did it right here. I laughed. So Governor Greg Abbott said, okay, Eric Adams, we're going to send, you're the biggest city. You're a sanctuary city. Shoot, everything's good, baby. We believe you are telling us the truth. We believe that you love all. Love is love. Now, wait a second. They're being overrun. Governor Adams says, hold on. Wait a second. We need federal assistance. But what has really made New York City people furious is you can't play the sports no more. Youth football, youth soccer fields are now camps. They're now camps for illegal immigrants. That's right. Camps, tents, taking it over. Wait a second. This ain't right. We pay for those fields, parents say. Wait a second. How are our little kiddies? How's Jimmy Bag of Donuts and Susie Rottencrotch? How are they going to grow as people if they don't have the sports? And these damn immigrants are taking our sports away. Yeah? Well, I don't know. You wanted them. You ran. You're the guy. You're the guy that said, we are welcome, everybody. Come see us. We are a sanctuary city. And you know what? Texas is only getting a glimpse of what's going on. New York City is only getting a glimpse of what's going on in New Mexico, what's going on in Arizona, what's going on in Texas. It's coming to Indy. It's absolutely coming to Indy. It is. The Washington State athletic director is not happy with the Pac-12. Really? No. Really? Well, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you wanted more money. Everybody wanted more money. I don't know. I mean, is that, I don't know. He's not happy. He's not happy. He says we have failed leadership. Really? You didn't know that when your Pac-12 network got no distribution? But wait a second. Bill Walton tells me it's the Conference of Champions. What? No, I'm reading. It's a Conference of Champions. And you know what? Bill Walton, he had a 30 for 30. So he's a good dude. Yeah, he is. Pat Chung ain't happy. When you have failed leadership, according to Mr. Chung, this is what happens. All right. Okay. Well, no kidding. The conference has mismanaged itself on a number of levels, and when you have failed leadership, this is what happened. He said there could be books written on the failed leadership. The last few weeks are a culmination of failed leadership, failed implementation. It was a bunch of decisions and failed strategy that put us into this space. The ones that lose out are the student athletes. You know, when you're a politician, you talk about real Americans. And you put your thumb up and you say, real Americans. Who's your values? When you are an athletic director, you go to student athletes. You guys don't give a rat's ass about student athletes. You're paying student athletes because you've been forced to. You're upping the level of food and living conditions for student athletes because you have been forced to, period. Don't give me this crap. Don't give me this garbage. You all wanted more money. I keep saying it, and I'm the only one that's going to say it because everyone else is so sad. Everyone else is talking about the legal issues. This is what's going. Look, here's the deal. You wanted more money. You begged, you borrowed, you complained, you went to court, you wanted more. And you know what, Mr. Athletic Director at Washington State, you're in a bad spot. He said Washington State's going to be fine, and hopefully they are. Hopefully everybody's fine. But it ain't the student athletes that are missing out. Let me explain something to you. 99.999999999% of Washington State student athletes aren't going professional in a sport. So what's the deal? Well, you still get a full ride scholarship. You still get your ass kissed constantly. You still get better food, better living conditions than you'll have until you're a billionaire at age 50. I told my son that when he was at Michigan, like, dude, just telling you, it's the best you're going to live in a long time. You show up. We went in the locker room, big screen TVs everywhere, big spread over here. Ain't happening unless you want to make the big spread. So the student athletes will be fine. Pull on the purse strings of all the other little ladies and gentlemen of the media. Don't try me. Student athletes, they ain't going pro anyway. They chose to go to wherever the hell Washington State is. Good for them. Guess what? They're still on scholarship. They're still making money. They still can make NIL. They're still being treated better than they will. They're still being entitled, and they'll still play a sport. They, ladies and gentlemen, will be just fine. Willie Colon's going to join us. But I got to tell you, Bashaud Breeland, former NFL cornerback, another one, arrested over a tremendous haul that includes a stolen vehicle, 4 guns, pounds of weed, magic mushrooms. That's right. That's right. Magic mushrooms. I thought that was only in like Scooby-Doo. The Scooby-Doo, we have magic mushrooms walking around? Good for Bashaud Breeland, another NFL guy. Look, here's the deal. Dude, don't steal a car. Don't do it. Don't steal a car. Bunch of AKs or ARs, whatever the hell they call them. More weed. You go Nate Newton on the weed. Look up the reference. And, of course, you got the shrooms. Good for him. I like Willie Colon. Willie Colon's fun. Going to talk to Willie Colon coming up here in a couple of minutes. And then we got the governor, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. We got the governor of Texas. How about our show? How about my guys and gals of this show getting us the governor of Texas? Then bottom of the next hour, that's coming up at 10. Bottom of the next hour, Mark Harris, our golf writer. I hate that Phil Mickelson acquiesced. Hey, Phil, bet $2 billion next year. That'll show him. Like us, love us. It's the polite thing to do. Remember, all these shows down here at the bottom has made OutKick the fastest growing website, fastest growing streaming service, the fastest growing entity in the history of the world. Yeah, that's right.
Hey, Davey Hudson of OutKick here. We are at SEC Media Days 2023 in Nashville, Tennessee. We're going to go talk to some players, see what they have to say. What's the best purchase you've made from an NIL deal so far?
Tag watch right here.
Far.
Best purchase? I probably just give it back to my son for real. That's probably my best purchase every time.
Man, pay my truck off. Definitely.
A house. My wife and I bought a house, so that's been huge. Being able to save that money up and buy a house.
This chain here.
The best purchase? I'd probably say helping my mom out with school.
Ooh, the best purchase? Probably the shoes. The shoes I got on right now.
The best purchase I've made, well, the best NIL deal I've had is free steaks from Marksbury Farms, so keep me fed and beefed up.
With it?
Ooh, purchase? Probably a new golf bag. Or recently I played TPC Sawgrass this past weekend, and that was from I used that money from a deal I made, so that's up there too.
Probably getting my sister through college, helping my family out a lot. That's probably my best purchase I've done.
Best purchase? Probably my mom and dad anniversary gift.
The best purchase I've made. I got a yoga mat the other day, and that's helped me a lot. Just flexibility and everything like that, so probably that.
Best purchase? My smile.
Best purchase? I would say my best purchase was having my school supply drive.
Landon, what is your favorite sports movie of all time?
Remember the Titans for sure. Sport movie, I say Love and Basketball. That's my favorite.
Got to be Remember the Titans for sure.
Remember the Titans. I mean, it's top movie ever.
Probably Longest Yard.
The great Willie Colon, you've seen him, you know him, you love him. Super Bowl champ, but not only Super Bowl champ, he's been in the ring and professional wrestling. He's worked at Barstool. He was at Jets camp the other day. Hey, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you, sir.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Willie, I got to ask you, you worked at Barstool. Portnoy and Big Cat are friends of mine. When you saw that Portnoy bought his deal back, what were your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this whole deal going on with Barstool?
You know, I'm not surprised they bought back his baby. I think when you get into the sports betting world, you have to understand there's a lot of restrictions. There's a lot of things you can do, can't do. And I think if you know anything about Barstool, nobody puts baby in the corner, right? You don't tell them what they can do and what they cannot do. So I'm not surprised they've said, you know what, thanks for having us, but we'll exit left. And I think it's good for the fan base. I think it's good for all the Stoolies out there who they're purists at heart when it comes to Dave Portnoy and the content that thrives within Barstool. It's kind of a renegade outlaw universe they live in, and I think they're going back to what they know, and that's providing content that people love.
I agree. I do, because regulators don't like hassles, right? All you got to do is watch the movie Casino. Regulators don't want De Niro out there on TV, man. They don't want to hear or a piece in the New York Times about Dave Portnoy, a hit piece. They don't need that crap.
Listen, I was fortunate enough to be a part of Barstool. Had some amazing years there. Met some amazing people, some really creative, fun, intelligent people. And one thing I noticed is that they all have one common gene. They march to their own beat of their drum. And they don't like being constricted to what the masses want them to be constricted to. And I think that's why people fall in love with Big Cat and the PFTs of the world, the Dave Portnoys. Even when I had my morning show, Barstool Breakfast, we kind of did things the way we chose to do things each and every day, and people gravitated towards it. So I think they're going to get back to that, and it's going to be fun.
Hey, Willie, you're the perfect guy to ask this. I'm watching the Manziel documentary. He watched zero tape and bragged about it. I don't know. I know we're all supposed to love Johnny Manziel, but I coached for 25 years college basketball, and I'm like, come on, man, don't waste talent like that. What are you doing?
It's nonsense. I don't know any college athlete or professional athlete that doesn't at least put on the tape, right? To not even put it on and watch it when they kind of had his recorded time to see how long he was actually on the iPad, it said 0. That means he was literally coming home after a hard day's work of being in the building and tossing his iPad to the side, which is just wild. At least put it on. You don't have to, I knew some guys who weren't big into tape. I was a guy that needed to watch film because I was, I went to bed with football. Some guys, like to turn it off once they leave the building. When you're the quarterback in the face of a franchise and you're as drafted as high as he was, you don't have that luxury. You have to be all in. You have to be dyed in. And I think that's really indicative to the Cleveland Browns organization. As much as you want to say that's about Johnny Manziel, if you're a scout or the powers that be who was scouting that young man to lead the Cleveland Browns to a Super Bowl and you did not know that was part of his pedigree and character, that's on you. That's on the organization. That's not on Johnny Manziel, because I'm pretty sure he wasn't looking at film when he was in college. And so that's an indictment on the scouting department.
No, you're exactly right, because, you always hear about this, Willie. You always hear about, well, they picked me apart in scouting. Well, I had after we won a national championship in 1987, two guys that played for us at Indiana. They're like, hey, coach, I think there's private eyes watching us, as they got ready for the draft. So dudes are going way back, or have been watching. You've got to know. It's one thing. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's one thing to be the renegade guy that doesn't watch tape. Well, if you're really good, if you're Joe Willie Namath and you're out there jacking, right?
Lawrence
but it's
Taylor.
Another thing in modern, modern quarterback, you got to lead people. You got to show up.
And you got to be prepared. And one thing about the quarterback position, you don't have no position should not be prepared for the job. But when it's that 5 minutes left in the game and a play needs to be had, and you have to be the guy to kind of put on the cape and win this game for your ball club, your preparation gets you to the table. If you're not prepared from the neck up, it's already a loss. And you can tell watching Johnny Manziel play football, especially in the NFL, he was used to a brand of football that is good in the neighborhood. Like, he was used to sandlot football. The league is too complicated, too complex, too much layers within the game for you to just walk on the field and have a day. Doesn't exist in the NFL. You got to come prepared.
Hey, I go to your guy, Ben Roethlisberger. He came to my basketball camp. He was from about 30 minutes away. He's from Findlay. I coached at Bowling Green State University. He comes to my camp, and he was going to be a football player, but I offered him a scholarship watching him play 10 minutes of basketball. Again, I don't know your relationship, but what I saw was a dude the exact opposite, at least then. He was a freaking leader, and you could tell it on the basketball court in 10 freaking minutes, and that wasn't even what he was really about, basketball.
Yeah, me and Ben are extremely close. I call him my brother. We've been through a lot. I was actually in his wedding. I know his family very well, beautiful people. And you're 100% right. He's honestly probably the most competitive human being I know that walks the planet. He would compete with us and anybody about anything and everything. And one thing about his leadership skill that I think sometimes get lost when you characterize or you describe a leader is his will to not making excuses during crucial times. There is no, we're not going back. There is no, we can't get it done. It's how much time we need to get it done, and this is what we need to do, and it's all eyes forward. I don't remember a time when Ben ever looked back or really dwelled on a play that hurt us within the game, because it's always about the next play. And I think he always kept that mentality, and it trickled down to us. As much as we didn't play as well during games, it was about that play during that moment, getting it done and executing. And I think that's what separated him from a lot of other athletes and quarterbacks.
Well, you and him, you don't have to get to my age and all of a sudden have regrets that you squandered something. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I think at the end of the day, when it comes down to being a professional athlete, you learn to live with regrets, but you also learn to seize the moment, if you will. And I think that's some of the greats do. You talk about Tom Brady and other elite athletes of this world, and I know you've been around and walked around some really good guys. They're not afraid of the moment. And part of not being afraid of the moment is being prepared for the moment. And that has a lot to do with it.
Hey, how fun is it to play football in a city like Pittsburgh where, there's no basketball, hockey is big, baseball is okay, we used to be really good. How fun is it to play for the Steelers? Just fun.
I don't even know if fun is a right word to playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're considered a god. You're born into a religion that generations and generations of people not only idolize their jersey that you're wearing, but care about you as a human being. One of my greatest things that I loved about playing for the Steelers was after a good win or a great win, and, guys get festive at bars and you're partying and you're having a good time, man. And there were fans I can remember literally. And it pays homage to the culture within Pittsburgh. I would have fans come up to me like, hey, big fella, I know you was in there having a good time. Congratulations on the big win. Do you need a ride home? Or we're going down to the diner. Do you want me to go pick you up something? Like, we were considered family amongst the city. So it was only right when we played on a Monday night, Thursday night, on Sunday against whoever that we gave it all I got, because there was genuinely love and appreciation for what we did on the field and how we represented the city of Pittsburgh and PA as a whole. So that's something that I always hold near and dear to my heart, that the fans, they saw us outside the helmets when they were around us. They didn't just treat us as ball players or their favorite player. They cared about our well-being. And I'm forever be grateful for that.
Do you have a sandwich named after you in Pittsburgh?
No, I don't, but I wish I had a hero sub named after, the Big Willie sub or something, or the Cologne casket, gravy fries. I don't know. So I don't know, but something would be good. But I don't have. No, I don't have.
That's bullshit. Anyway, I'll move on. Hey, you were at Jets camp. You've been at Jets camp. Hard Knocks is there. I've had people tell me, and I'm not sure I'm smart enough, but I've had people that have studied this and that say, look, it seems a little tempered because the Jets have maybe too much control. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But what's your take? Now all of a sudden the Jets are interesting. You've got Aaron Rodgers there. You've got Sauce Gardner there. What's your take on the Jets?
Me personally, I'm happy for the ball club. I'm happy for the organization. 75% of that offense goes to the quarterback. And if you watch the Jets in the last couple of years, the one thing that has hindered this team, even my time as a Jet, as much as I love Ryan Fitzpatrick and I was there for Geno's rookie year, I was able to play alongside Michael Vick, who was a Jet for a small period of time. We never had a Hall of Fame true type quarterback lead the Jets onto the field. Now you have Aaron Rodgers, who has been there, done that, has played at a high level for a long time, has played long into the season, playing meaningful games in December, leading into January, into the playoffs. He's been that guy. He's been the GOAT. His name has been amongst the best to ever do it. The Jets as a whole, my only concern is, one, they don't put all of it on Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be Aaron Rodgers. He's going to score touchdowns. He's going to be great. But the supporting cast has to elevate to his level. And if you treat him as your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, yeah, he's going to deliver. But Jesus had a couple of disciples that went to work for him too. So if football is a team sport, it can't just be Aaron Rodgers trying to put on the cape winning games. He's capable of that, 100%. But this is a really good defense that's young, that has to learn how to close out games. Because if Aaron Rodgers puts 2 touchdowns on the board in the fourth quarter, it's up to the defense, this historic, well-paid defense, to now close out games. And it's up to this offensive line to raise their level up and keep number 8 upright. It's up to the receivers to be playmakers. So it has to be all hands on deck for this New York Jets team. And it's a rough start for this Jets team. They opened up Monday night against Buffalo. They turned around and played the Patriots. They had the Chiefs. They had the Broncos. So they're not playing teams where they have the luxury of warming up to. Their first game is a heavyweight fight against the Buffalo Bills within the division. And by the way, it's on Monday night. So all eyes are going to be on this team and Robert Saleh on how they perform and what they look like. And they have to rise. And if they can rise to the moment and win consistently, because when you win consistently, that means you're getting another team's best. Nobody's going to be surprised about the New York Jets, especially when you got number 8 Aaron Rodgers walking on the field. They're going to give you their best.
2 questions. You brought up the Patriots. 1, how much do you hate the Patriots? And 2, is Bill Belichick on the hot seat now that he's shown, without Tom Brady, great coach, I know, but you gotta, we're keeping track.
I think this year is going to be a pivotal year. I think their defense is going to be lights out, to be honest. I think they're going to be absolutely fascinating. As far as my hate and disdain for the Patriots, that's because they would kick my butt. They were a team that no matter how well we did as the Pittsburgh Steelers, we had to see Tom Brady and the Patriots. And one thing Mike Tomlin, I remember one time our preparation for the Patriots, and it usually Wednesday is install, so all the guys get together. We have the big team meeting, and he goes, "Listen," and we were hot. Our defense was really good. We were really good as an offense. We were, pretty much either third or second behind them in the AFC conference. There was the difference between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Patriots is we will forever be the toughest outfit. I'll take our team in the back alley against any team in the NFL. The New England Patriots are just as tough, but they're smarter. They don't beat themselves. They're not going to do the dumb things. They're not going to get caught up in the emotionality of football. They're going to play winning football and do whatever it takes to get out of the building with the W. We have to raise our game from the neck up standpoint. We can't beat ourselves. We got to be just as smart. I'm not worried about our toughness and our physicality because we prided ourselves on breaking the will of other teams. But the Patriots were just as tough because they had those caliber of players, but they were also smart. We had to be smarter. So when you played the New England Patriots, man, it just wasn't about showing up. They demanded your A game. And if you didn't, you was going to get run out the building.
Why is Mike Tomlin such a great coach in your mind?
I think and I know, I shouldn't say I think because I do know, it's his ability to tap into every ball player that wears a helmet for him. That's not an easy gig. He's not a coach that's going to sit in the ivory tower and simply look at you from afar. He's going to put his nose up to your face mask and have a one-on-one conversation with the man in the face mask. And I think that speaks to his level of being in tune to the team. He's not afraid to say anything that's necessary that's going to help the team win. He doesn't cut corners. He understands that everything that involves football to be a winning team and get to where you ultimately want to get to is a process. And he doesn't give up on players. Too many times I see coaches, or I've been around coaches who say, he's done. I'm tired of talking to him. I'm tired of repeating myself. He doesn't give up on guys. He finds a way to coach the individual and make him the best he can be. Obviously, it's up to the ball player, but he doesn't give up on his ball players off the field and on the field. And I think that's why so many ball players and guys who play for him gravitate to him because they know he's a guy who's literally in the trenches with you. He's not hard to talk to. He's not hard to find. You don't have to go through a chain of command to talk to Mike Tomlin. You simply walk up to Mike Tomlin, and he wants you to express whatever you have to say. Kind of what Eric Bieniemy is trying to get done in Washington. He wants guys to be transparent, but understand there's a standard to how football is played at Pittsburgh, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You're not going to be – you can't be weak. You can't be small-minded, and you can't be fragile when it comes to criticism, nor when it comes to being what's demanded of you to do your job. It's a tall task. You have to be selfless, but you have to be prepared and you have to be diligent. And I think he preaches all that. Players receive it, and I think he also makes it fun for guys too. He's not willing to. He's not stuck in a stoic way. He's able to adjust and he's able to relate. And when you have a young locker room and you're dealing with generations of young guys trying to really learn the game from the neck up, you have to be patient, but you also have to be diligent. And I think he represents all that, and he understands what's behind him. 6 Super Bowl trophies, the historic Pittsburgh Steelers, the Roonies, and what they mean to the game of football and to the community in Pittsburgh and the community of the NFL. He wears it with a high hat.
Last thing before I let you go, you mentioned Bieniemy. Rivera aired some dirty laundry. 2 questions. What did you think of that entire deal, from Rivera airing it, maybe players complaining to him, being too hard? And give me your take on the running back deal that's going on right now in terms of being paid, if you don't mind.
You know, Dan, I'm from the old school. I'm from the days of two-a-days, these kids today would never know what it means to put on wet pads 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, when it's 98 degrees outside and you got a black helmet on your head, and still play to the level that's demanded. Eric Bieniemy's old school, man, but he's also was with the Kansas City Chiefs, coached the great Patrick Mahomes, multiple Super Bowls. He's storied. He's decorated himself as a coach. If you're the Washington Commanders and you're dealing with an overhaul, with getting Daniel Schneider out in that regime, and you're bringing in on a new regime, and you're trying to tell the community and the people and the Washington fans, hey, we won't be the same old circus that we were in the papers. We're going to be a better team. We're going to be a winning team. You need a guy like Eric Bieniemy to establish a culture that's not going to keep excuses, that's not going to be a mediocre, who's not going to establish anything other than being great each and every day. So Ron Rivera, I think he may have put his foot in his mouth, but at the same time, he's really telling the players, enough is enough. We got to be better. This man's trying to make you better. You may not receive it. You may not appreciate it, but understand it's coming from a good place. And these young guys have to understand football's not easy. You're away from your family. You're away from your family. You spend more time in the locker room with the guys next to you. You need to understand you have to be all in. And being all in means being your best each and every day, even when you don't have it. That's a part of the discipline. So he's trying to establish some discipline, some grit. I don't think it's being received very well, but normally it doesn't. It takes getting the right guys in the building to buy in. Once they get the right guys in the building, a competitive outfit and a hungry outfit, Washington's going to be where they need to be.
Yeah, don't you think it's always easier to lighten up than it is toughen up when you first start out? Like, you can always lighten up, but it's hard if you start out soft and then all of a sudden you're going to get tough. At least that's the coaching mantra.
I think you're 100% right, because if you start off lighthearted and joking, like, oh, guys, we'll get there. Then when you get tough and you have to kind of bite a guy, so to speak, now he's thinking you're being a hardo, or you're just trying too hard, or you're trying to just fit a role in front of the group. I'm always of the mindset, man. I've been mother effed. I've been dragged. I've been all of it. But I'm talking about since I was 13 years old when I first put on a helmet. So I've always been used to hard coaching. Hard coaching doesn't break me. The only thing that broke me as a player was knowing I disappointed myself, because I knew better. I knew what was demanded of me. I knew the preparation it took to be the best. And when I didn't meet my own standards, that's when I was breaking my own will, because I understood what was demanded of me. Because I always considered myself a leader. I always considered myself a purist. I always considered myself somebody who loved the game, and I knew what it took. So I've never been against hard coaching. I've been fortunate to play for some extremely amazing coaches. And one thing they all have in common is leave excuses at the door. Prepare, get ready, get it done.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I hope you'll come back, man. This has been a blast, Willie. Hey, by the way, are you one of those guys that says you were a better basketball player than football player? All you football guys always go, I was a better basketball player.
No, man, I grew up, I'm from the Bronx, New York. I grew up hooping, man. And when I started playing varsity basketball, and I didn't pass 6'2", 6'3", and I started guarding everybody that was 6'5" and 6'7" and up, I knew it was time to keep that helmet on my head.
Yeah, right. I mean, look, I don't blame you. But all my friends that played football, I was a better basketball player. Shut up. No. You were not. You played in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. I did the right thing. God followed me.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You absolutely did the right. I mean, what the hell? Hope you'll come back, man. It was fun. Thank you.
Oh, man, have me anytime. I'm here.
That's great, man. Willie Colon is a legend. He is. You talk to people in Pittsburgh. My producer, Kyle Knezovich, Pittsburgh guy's like, you got Willie Colon on? That dude's a legend. I go, I know. We only bring legends out here. What do you think this show is? You think this show is just a place to go for the hell of it? No. We got Texas Governor Abbott coming up next. Willie Colon was great, but I'm telling you, in coaching, it is this. It is. You can always lighten up, but it's really difficult to toughen up. If you come in trying to be buddies with somebody, if you come in trying to be the coach, and then all of a sudden, wait a second, now I have got to toughen up, that ain't easy. If you see me jacking around with my earpiece, it's because my freaking thing fell out and it rolled across somewhere over here. But I got Governor Abbott coming up, and I cannot wait. Governor Abbott, if you don't know, put an executive order out to the state of Texas that basically said, look, if you're born a boy, you're playing against boys. If you're born a woman, you're playing against women. That's it. Doesn't it seem crazy? You know, I say this all the time. Doesn't it seem insane that those are the rules that we have to put in place on an executive order? Doesn't it seem insane to you? It does. All right. When we come back, the great state of Texas is represented by a great governor. I mean, a great governor. And that man is Greg Abbott. And I cannot wait to talk to Governor Abbott. Be right back.
The two biggest social media giants, Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg, are set to battle it out. And I'm here on Broadway asking people who they put their money on.
I think Mark Zuckerberg will win.
Why do you think that?
Because I think he already trains MMA. So he's got like the prior experience and stuff. I mean, they're both billionaires, so they have the opportunity to get the best training. But I think Mark Zuckerberg will pull away with the win.
Elon Musk.
Why do you think so?
Because he's bigger.
Bigger, okay, but Mark Zuckerberg's been training jiu-jitsu for 9 months. Do you think that matters?
No.
Zuckerberg, he's part alien or robot, so he may have some secret powers that we don't know about.
I was going to say, is that an advantage? Does he have an advantage over Elon Musk then?
Yeah, I mean, if he, sheds his skin and becomes an alien and eats everyone, yeah, I think so.
Elon Musk is mental, so Elon Musk.
All it is just he's mental, he's mentally crazy, so...
He just wouldn't care, would he?
Okay.
He'd just absolutely go for it. I think Zuckerberg would be a bit more refrained.
Okay.
If that should ever happen, which I doubt, but you never know, it'd be entertaining.
Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg?
Elon Musk.
Why?
Because
Elon
my
Musk.
dad is in love with Elon Musk.
Okay.
I think I'm going to have to go with Zuckerberg. I mean, Threads just came out, so...
Who do you think would win?
Zuck.
Why do you think so?
Because he's not a real human, he's a robot.
So he'll use that to his advantage?
Yeah, and all the Krav Maga stuff, too, yeah.
Who do you think would win in a fight, Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk?
Elon Musk.
Why do you think Elon Musk?
I think Elon's
He
smarter.
works with robots, so maybe he built a robot to fight for him.
But what if Mark Zuckerberg is a robot?
Oh, wow.
Then I might have to change my answer.
Who do you think is going to win?
Me.
Look, you guys that have followed us know me for years. You know that I love people that don't acquiesce to bullshit. I do. I like people that say, hey, look, this is the way it is. This is the way we're going. And this is how it is. And Governor Greg Abbott of Texas, I am a huge fan, Governor. I don't mean to gush, but I'm going to get into some of the stuff that you have done, and I am a massive fan. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, well, thank you.
First and foremost, Governor, you passed a Save the honest to God, I can't believe we got to talk about this. You passed by executive order the Save Women's Sports Act, which basically says, hey, look, if you're a guy, you're playing sports against a guy in Texas. If you're a girl, you're playing sports against a girl in Texas. And you spelled out the spaces with which women are allowed to be in their own locker room, for crying out loud. Governor, I can't even believe we're having this conversation, but Riley Gaines, Paula Scanlon, two friends of our show were there. Talk about the importance of that bill in Texas, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so this is a law that I signed last week, protecting women's sports. You know, it's outrageous that men want to participate in women's sports. It's also outrageous that men get dressed and undressed in the same locker room that women are getting dressed and undressed. And that's exactly what Paula Scanlon had to do. She's the one who was a swimmer for the University of Pennsylvania, where she competed against a man on the team, but also in the locker room. And of course, it was a man that Riley Gaines lost her swim race to. And it's, you know, why the heck does a man want to participate in women's sports? Well, what's going on in this country? And so we want to make it clear in Texas. If you're a man, you participate in men's sports. If you're a woman, only women will be your competitor in sports, both in college as well as in high school.
I don't know where this is headed, but did you get any blowback from any of the colleges? Because you know what? Leah Thomas helped Penn win a little bit, you know, coming over. Did Texas A&M, all the great schools in Texas, the swim programs, anybody give you any blowback on that?
Not at all. For one, like the University of Texas, as one example, is a frequent national champion in women's swimming. And so there's no way they want to have that interrupted. They can win just fine, only with women. But there's zero pushback from our universities in our state. And know this, it's not just things like making sure that men are not participating with women in our college sports. I also signed a law this session that eliminated DEI from our universities. And so we are not going to have our universities telling the state what to do. The state is going to set the standard for what the universities are going to do.
How important was the DEI bill?
Listen, very important. Americans need to understand that the problems that are occurring on our campuses, what happens is that professors use this DEI ideology for hiring and firing purposes. Get this. At Texas Tech University, there was a biology professor applying for a position, and he was asked, do you think that everybody should be treated equally? And he said, obviously, yes. Well, that was the wrong answer under DEI. And so he was not allowed into the position that he was seeking. This is outrageous. Once again, we're trying to re-gear the state of Texas so that the professors understand they're employees. They're not the boss. It's the state of Texas that's going to set the standard. And in Texas, we do not allow DEI on our college campuses.
Governor, I loved what you did with illegal immigration and calling out Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, Chicago, and others by saying, look, you're a sanctuary city. Be a sanctuary city. You just did what they said they were about. You gave them a chance to prove and be men of their word, women of their word, these mayors.
All these liberals, all they do is virtue signal. They can talk big and say, oh, we should be welcoming, and states like Texas should be welcoming and allow all these people in. And it's big talk until they have to walk the walk. And when New York or Washington, D.C. or Illinois and Chicago, when they actually had to deal with illegal immigrants themselves, they were apoplectic. They could not deal with it. And now they're pounding the desk, demanding that President Biden take action. Well, they're long overdue in calling for the president to take action. And the small trickle of people that they're getting who are migrants is something that we deal with every single day. Imagine if they had to deal with what we had to deal with on the border. And that's exactly why Texas is taking the action that we are to deny entry of people who are trying to enter our country illegally.
Governor, how bad is it? Can you explain? I've had a number of people that have been to the border come on our show, but to your own words, you deal with it every single day. Can you explain the difference in the policies that Biden implemented, taking away the policies that Trump had implemented, and what those policies of Biden have meant to the state of Texas and the border in general?
The differences are massive. Remember this, 4 years ago, we had the fewest illegal immigration people coming across the border in about 40 years. And that's because of simple policies that President Trump put in place. It was the Man in Mexico policy, the Title 42 policy, the end of catch and release, and the building of a border wall. And when Biden came in, he eliminated all of those policies. And now under Biden, we're seeing an all-time record of the number of people coming across the border illegally. And so there's millions of people coming across the border illegally. And I have to add this. What Joe Biden is doing, he literally is causing people to lead to their death. The United Nations, an agency under the United Nations, came out with a report in 2021 declaring that the border between the United States and Mexico was the deadliest land crossing in the entire world. Last year, we saw an all-time record of more than 800 people trying to cross the border who died in the process. And so what Joe Biden's policies are doing is literally leading people to their death.
Last thing before I let you go, are you okay with Dak Prescott as the quarterback of the Cowboys? You good there? He's catching a lot of hell, and the season hasn't even started, Governor.
So yeah, I'm a big Cowboy fan, and I go to Cowboy games, and there's nothing more that I want to see than the Dallas Cowboys back in the Super Bowl. Dak Prescott is a good quarterback as it concerns stats and things like that. He needs to be able to step up and show he can win a big game.
Right. Be a Texan. Do not talk. That's what Texas is about. That's what Texans are about. Governor, I know you got to run. I hope you'll come back. Thank you for the time, sir.
Of course. Thank you. Be safe.
Yeah, that's Governor Greg Abbott. I'm a huge fan. I love the fact that people say, look, enough, and we're going to step up and we're going to do something. You guys know Riley Gaines has been on our show. Paula Scanlon's been on our show. We're big fans of both and this, and we're certainly fans of the great governor of the state of Indiana. Look, you know what? Our state of Indiana, state of Texas. I wish he was the governor of the state of Indiana, although Holcomb's been very good to my brother as my brother is developing the entire northwest portion of the state of Indiana, trying to bring it back. Speaking of illegal immigration, would you do this? All right, I'm going to ask you very, very simple question. Would you house illegal immigrants in your house, on your property? Would you do that? I think most of us wouldn't. And maybe that makes me a bad guy. Maybe that makes me somebody that isn't going to heaven. My whole life's goal is to get to heaven. I don't know if I got a shot. I don't know if I don't have a shot. I got no idea, right? But that's my goal. So here's the deal. Here's the simple deal. Would you house them? State of Massachusetts is now asking families to house illegal immigrants. That's what they want you to do. As a taxpayer in the university, in Massachusetts, they want you, ladies and gentlemen, to house illegal immigrants. No. Let me give you a better thing. Get rid of illegal immigrants. Let illegal immigrants come in legally. How about we do that? That seems, oh my God, that seems foreign to me. Hey, Double Dizzle, yeah, what can I do for you? We want you to house illegal immigrants. You want me to do what now? Like live in my house with my son and daughter? Okay, here's the deal. Here's what I would say. before I even consider this, give me the background on this particular person. Well, we don't know. We don't know. What do you mean you don't know? You want this person to come into my house where I've got kids living, where I've got a wife, where I've got a family, and I've heard all these horror stories about prisons in Peru and other places, China, sending their criminals across the border, and you want me to house these folks without you telling me who they are, without vetting them. Really? That's what you want? I don't think so. No, I don't think that's what we're going to do here. What should really happen is this. If you voted for Joe Biden, and of course we have the rolls, you house illegal immigrants. You. And by the way, last I looked, President Obama has a $12 million mansion. Joe Biden has two $5 million houses. How about sign up for it? What? Why don't we do that? The great sanctuary state of Massachusetts, the original, bring us your poor, you're tired, bring them all. I don't know. The governor, this is on August 8th, a couple days ago, declared a state of emergency. A state of emergency, Governor Healy? In a sanctuary state? What are you talking about? She cited the influx of migrants seeking shelter at a time when the cost of housing in short supply continues to rise. There are nearly, listen to this, 5,600 families or more than 20,000 people, many of whom are migrants, currently living in state shelters, including infants, young children, pregnant women. This is up from around 3,100 families a year ago. It's an 80% increase. Well, wait a second. If you call yourself a sanctuary city, be a sanctuary city. I don't know. But I'll tell you this, and I think this is exactly what should happen. 84 million people voted for Joe Biden, allegedly. Get those 84 million people and match them up. Match him up with a family. Hell, I think my neighbor here, no, I don't want that. No, hell no. No, never mind. Ixnay on the neighbor. No. I mean, I don't know. It kind of seems like, maybe that's what should happen. Will it? Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. But should it? Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Of course it should. You and I both know that. You and I both know that that's exactly what should happen. You voted for this crap. And oh, by the way, another $24 billion of our money, yours and mine, is being sent, or at least asked by Joe Biden. Another $24 billion is being asked to head on over to not the border, not the fentanyl crisis. No. No. To the Ukraine, to fight a war, where I've seen pictures of everybody hanging out on beaches. Look, Massachusetts, we go back to it, has a population of 7 million. They're declaring a state of emergency, over 20,000 immigrants. Brownsville, Texas has a population of under 187,000. They've encountered 15,000 migrants in 1 week. Oh, poor Massachusetts. All right. Okay. Consider hosting an illegal immigrant in your house. Let me consider. No. That's as much as I'm considering. It's like I wouldn't let Greg Doyle, the writer for the Indy Star, who was a friend of mine, stay at my house when I got divorced. He was moving to Indy. I originally said, hey, why don't you just stay at my house for a few days? Get yourself squared away. Then I heard, he told me, of all of the affairs he was having with women. He put in an article that he was having an affair, and we were talking about a woman in Charlotte. I didn't know about a woman in Charlotte. I knew about an ESPN reporter. I knew about his neighbor. I knew about him stalking, his words, not mine, his coworker at her church on a Sunday. He called me. So I said, no, you know what? I got a young daughter here. I got an 18-year-old daughter going through a divorce. She doesn't need some strange dude that doesn't apparently have great morals. She doesn't really need him in our house. Doesn't really need him. So I wouldn't let that guy live at my house. Do you think I'm about to let an illegal immigrant that I got no idea, has he murdered 6 people? Why does he want to come over? Is he a dreamer? Is he a killer? Is he a robber? Is he a rapist? Not a chance in holy hell am I allowing it. Hell, I wouldn't let Doyle. No chance I'm allowing these other folks. The world's nuts. The world is insane. You know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, let's continue. Odell Beckham apparently likes the Sound of Freedom movie. Odell Beckham has been on this show a lot. Odell Beckham apparently said, hey, Sound of Freedom. I don't even know what to say. That's heavy. Well, Odell Beckham, are you starting to think for yourself? Are you becoming a liberal that can think for themselves? Are you becoming a liberal that does not like human trafficking? It seems like most liberals like human trafficking. It seems like most liberals enjoy human trafficking and want it to continue. I don't understand. I don't understand. Why would a liberal, are you, Odell, see? If professional athletes were smart, this is the perfect time, the absolute perfect time for athletes to become conservative. You're getting taxed out of your mind. That tax money is going over, going to the Ukraine. Charles Barkley said it best. African Americans continue to vote Democratic in big cities, and they continue to be poor. It's a perfect time. It's a perfect time to come over. Yeah, it really is. I'm sorry, but there's never been a more perfect time, and it is right now. Good for Odell Beckham. Maybe Odell Beckham is doing him some thinking. Human trafficking, however it's presented, should just be, what should be said about it is, no. Ain't doing it. Awful. Ain't involved in it. A notable Democrat, Joe Manchin of West Virginia, is considering, speaking of becoming a Republican, he's considering leaving the Democratic Party because, quote, the brand is so bad. He is seriously considering switching parties. Well, I got to tell you, who could blame him? I mean, reasonable people, got to sit there and go, wait a second, hold on a second here. What does the Democratic Party stand for? Higher taxes, tax dollar waste. Apparently, it stands for let's let transgender folk run our country. Let's let transgender folk, 0.05% of our population, dominate how we go about the business of athletics. Let's let transgender folks and the woke agenda dominate our lives. Let's have open borders. Let's have high taxes. Let's have fentanyl come in. But hey, make sure we pay back our bribes to Russia. Joe Biden is marking the first anniversary of the Inflation Reduction Act, which actually increased inflation. Joe Manchin of West Virginia is going to skip the White House campaign-style affair, highlighting the climate and health spending law he helped write. So Manchin helped write this piece of crap, and he is going to skip the dinner celebrating it. He told a West Virginia radio host, probably happy, that he's been thinking about it for quite some time. Changing his party, not to Republican, no, but to independent. Truthfully, more people should go independent. Like, I don't consider myself a staunch Republican. I don't consider myself anything. I consider myself a guy who has his own thoughts. And I think that's a good thing. I do. Speaking of the woke agenda, you know how Target had that tuck-in stuff for little kids, boys, to act like they're girls? And it backfired? I will never go to Target again. I'm not mad. Colin Cowherd said all of us are mad. I'm not mad. I'm just not supporting something that I don't believe in. That's not anger. That's just common sense. You want to promote little boys being able to tuck their pee-pees in, little boys, and you want to put it right out there, Target, good for you, man. But I ain't going. So now Target shareholders are suing over the losses from the tuck bathing suits and super queer shirts. Look, I don't blame you. You did not get become a shareholder with Target because they represented themselves as a woke agenda with tucks, with boys being able to tuck. I don't know. To me, there's a lot of lawsuits. If you're claiming more than $75,000 and you're not in Minnesota, you can expect Target in many cases to remove the case to federal court. There's a lot going on. Hey, no one covers the world of golf better than OutKick's Mark Harris. I'm thrilled that Mark is joining us. All right, Phil Mickelson bet a lot of money. Whatever. Billy Walters, legendary gambler, is writing a tell-all book. Phil Mickelson says in a statement, I never bet on the Ryder Cup, and then he went on and on. What do you make of all this? Does this make Phil Mickelson look bad, good? Where are we at with Phil Mickelson here, Mark?
Well, I think the shock factor is just the numbers involved in this, in these all these allegations. It's well known that Phil Mickelson likes to gamble. Even earlier this week, Live Golf posted a video of him playing a match with Bryson, and the first thing out of his mouth was, "What are we playing for?" He's like, "Let's play $1,000 a man." So he's clearly still wagering out on the golf course. But yeah, you mentioned Billy Walters. This isn't some random guy writing a book that was just having a run-in with Phil. There's a lot to this story. They were involved in an insider trading deal about 10 years ago. Phil got off, had to pay a $931,000 fine. Billy Walters got sentenced to prison for 5 years. He actually got pardoned by President Trump in 2021. And Phil, kind of the conspiracy there is Phil could have kind of testified and stood up for Billy, but Phil was trying to avoid jail himself. So there's a lot of juice to the whole thing. But as far as the gambling, I mean, like I said, it's just the figures of what it was. And I don't know, everybody knows that Phil Mickelson's not your average American. The guy, has a, rumored net worth that's hovering around $900 million over his career. So it's not like he's just making a 6-figure paycheck year after year.
Could Mickelson have gone to jail in that insider trading deal had he not testified or had he not gone after Billy Walters? Did Billy Walters take the fall for him?
Yeah, I was still in college when that was happening. I was out of this world when all that went down. But that's what I've read. They definitely had a tie-in. Everything you read, they were working together. There was actually 2 cases involved with Phil. He got one of those pardoned on some stock he was working with, and the other one was the one that they were tied in on, where he just paid his close to $1 million fine. And it certainly reads like Billy Walters kind of took a fall there, where he made close to $40 million on that insider trading thing. So he was thrown in prison for 5 years. But like I said, President Trump pardoned him in early 2021.
When you look at Phil Mickelson as a golfer right now, particularly on obviously he's on the LIV Tour. His best days are behind him, but he did win a major a year ago. I mean, where is he as a golfer?
I think it's funny because I think it's changed a lot in just like a 2-year stretch. Obviously, the PGA Championship was, over 50 years old, was one of the greatest feats in golf history. He came out of absolutely nowhere, beats up on Brooks Koepka in the final round to win it. I think kind of the opinion on him from the golf purists, a couple years ago, even before LIV got off the ground, was, wow, it's just, typical quote unquote slimy Phil doing slimy things. But I think his diehards are still kind of there. He's been around forever. It was him and Tiger and Vijay Singh for a bit, and everybody loved Phil. And I think they still love. He certainly has his own his following that's not going to go anywhere. But I will kind of throw this theory out at you as far as the LIV golf stuff. Obviously, he was the captain of all this from a player's perspective. If it kind of comes out where this wasn't, I was doing this for the PGA Tour players and LIV, and we need to get team golf, and we need more money just for golfers in general, where it was maybe kind of a backdoor kind of gambling hole this guy was in, where that kind of can play into the role of him saying, oh, we need to do this. Like, I need a little bit of change. I need some guaranteed paydays coming up. I'm 51 years old. Those aren't coming anytime soon ever again. That's something to keep an eye on. Who knows if that ever comes out, even if that's true. But conspiracy theorists are running pretty hot right now. I don't know if you heard, but aliens exist now. So, it could be something to keep an eye on here.
They do. And, one of the things that I never begrudge a guy is, you want to gamble? Like back in the day, gambling was, the backdoor deal. You had, bookies. I remember going with a friend of mine to collect when I was like 12 years old on our bike. His family was a gambling family. I mean, but now, hey, look, it's out there. I don't know. I mean, I guess the numbers that he bet are staggering, and you go the average American. But is it bad if he left to go to LIV to cover his gambling debts? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that hadn't really been seen in the world of golf too. And like with the Ryder, the allegations where he was going to bet on the Ryder Cup, $400,000 on the Ryder Cup. That one kind of is a red flag to me because that's a team thing. It's not just him betting on himself in a 100-man field where he can't, control some other golfers kind of stuff. That one's a little strange. But yeah, as far as he's an American guy. It almost adds to like his persona almost that he's involved with this, because it's like Phil is Phil, and that's just, we've known he's a gambler. He'll go out and gamble $100,000 against anybody any day of the week. I know stories personally that guys have played with him, and that's the first thing out of his mouth during practice rounds. It's just kind of it is who he is, and it's not really I don't think it's gonna change many perspectives. And the whole, he bet 100 and something or 47 bets or whatever on MLB games in one day. It's like, you and your buddies out in Vegas on a bender, like you can make47 bets in one day. You're not going to bet your unit size it in $110,000, but it is what it is. It's not. I don't think it changes too much of his persona. It's not It's just once you get past the staggering numbers, it's just Phil being Phil, in my opinion.
Mark, they said, wow, he bet an average of 9 bets a day. You know what? I thought that was low. I did.
Yeah.
I thought like 9 bets a day. I mean, I literally have a friend. We were talking about Fitbits and steps. Everybody wants to get steps in as they get older. He goes, Dan, I got a record that you'll never touch. And I thought he was going to say like, I got 70,000 steps in a day. He said, and his wife was right there and she verified. I think the number was, Dan, there was a football Sunday. I took 37 steps the entire day. I woke up in time, walked from there to there.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Laid on my couch the entire day. Yeah, it's like, so, dudes on a football Sunday, they may make 50 bet, So to your point, Mark, I think that's what endears people to Phil and Phil to people, because that's what guys are doing tonight watching Major League Baseball. Once you start having DraftKings and you made it legal, let's go.
You can bet on anything. I mean, from your phone in most states, you can bet on horse races going on in Australia or whatever the case may be, Chinese baseball, whatever you want to bet on. Like you said, it's just Phil being Phil, and that's not going to change anybody's idea for what he's come out to be. He's still a legend of the game. And as far as the numbers go, I saw a tweet from Matt Vincenzi, who's a PGA rider himself, and he broke it down kind of for the typical American for if you make $100,000 and you're making your unit size is X compared to Phil's, that's $150 a bet, which, that's a high number. Making 9 bets a day, you're betting over $1,000 a day. I would probably categorize that maybe being a problem. But it's in the grand scheme of Phil's net worth and fortune and all this. It's crazy to say, but I think it's just a hobby away from the golf course for the guy.
I do too. I just think it's a hobby. It's a way to get some juice going. It's a way to get it, done. All right, what's going to happen here as we move into the playoffs? What do you like this weekend? What do you see this weekend?
Yeah, being here in Memphis, it's around the corner for me. I like John Rahm heading into the week, but he's beating a total of 5 guys in the field so far. Not looking great for him. It's tough to not be on the Scheffler wagon. It's just like numbers have to play out where the guy wins this week, next week, or the next. Because it's just the numbers have to fall his way sooner rather than later. Because he's playing better than anybody has in the past decade. Not named Tiger Woods in his prime, basically. I think it's Scheffler's to lose. I think Rory could make some noise. He hasn't had a great track record around Memphis. I know he played, pretty solid yesterday in the first round. Jordan Spieth's up there at the top of the leaderboard. It would certainly be fun to see him kind of get in the mix with the big three as far as the standings go for the last 2 weeks. But like it always is, it's going to be the top dogs like it is of the past 5-6 years at the FedEx Cup when we get to Atlanta for the final, 25, 30 guys that are playing.
Why do I feel, even though Jordan Spieth threw a nice 63 at him yesterday, and he is atop the leaderboard, why do I feel like he could be on top of the leaderboard today, tomorrow, but I feel like anymore with Spieth, I feel like he's going to crap the bed in round 4, and that's unlike Spieth from a few years ago, right?
Yeah, I saw something, read some statistic where today is the day to watch out for Spieth. The second round has not been kind to him in quite a while. So if he posts another low number today, that's a pretty good sign for anybody that's backing him this week. There's a lot of trouble around TPC Southwind. Most water balls off any golf course on the entire tour. A lot of trouble lurking. Yesterday was super soft conditions. We got almost 2 inches of rain. And you give those guys super soft and fairways not running out and easy greens, they're gonna light it up. It's going to get significantly harder, which could play to Spieth's strength if he keeps it out of the drink. I think he should be there on Sunday. But like you said, he hasn't necessarily put together 4 rounds of typical Spieth golf in quite a while. Like I said, it'd be great to see him jump into that mix of the top 3 guys the last 2 weeks of the FedEx Cup playoffs. But we'll just a wait and see game.
Yeah, I know that Rahm shoots 3 over and Scheffler's 3 under, but I always feel like, all right, Rahm stunk early. He'll be there in the end. Scheffler will be there in the end. And I hate to say it, but with DJ, even when he would play in an event now or with Spieth, I never felt this way, but I feel like they're going to crap the bed. Hey, Mark, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it. Keep doing great stuff. Thank you.
As always, Dan, anytime. Great to talk to you.
That's Mark Harris. Read him and follow him. He is the best in golf coverage here, and he's on OutKick. It's just really, really good. And you know what? I like following this stuff. Dylan's guy, Tommy Fleetwood. Dylan bets on Tommy Fleetwood every single tournament that Tommy Fleetwood is in. Now, Tommy Fleetwood dropped a sassy little 66 on him, -4. He's going to be around, but he never seems to win. We deal with winners here, lady. Hayley joins us. It's Friday. And the lovely Hayley Caronia joins us live from, looks like maybe you're in your apartment today, no?
Yes, I'm in my living room. The comfort of
what's going on?
Well, I know
what are you railing against? What's on your mind, woman?
What's on my mind is Disney is doubling and tripling down on woke. I'm sure you've seen all the latest with them peddling women's clothes or girls' clothes being modeled by some non-binary man. Obviously, they're remaking a lot of their old films, which I think is lazy. I think people want new content, fresh content, and we don't want woke content. And what Disney's formula is they made a good movie however many years ago. In this case, Snow White, 1937. They're going to remake it. They remade it in 2012. That wasn't woke enough. They're going to do it again. So this new remake has no dwarves, and Snow White's going to save everyone by herself. She's a heroine. She doesn't need a man. People on TikTok are pissed.
By that, I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince. Everyone's talking about this video, but you know what pisses me off about it? Like, obviously it's annoying that they're changing the whole story. They didn't cast any dwarves. The main girl is just complaining about the whole thing. What makes me so annoyed is how smug they are about it. Like, Snow White was about being kind and soft and gentle. Now she's like, what is she doing? She's like running for president or something in this new movie. Like, I don't want to see it.
Nobody wants to see that.
Not being saved by the prince. Is that what Snow White is? I mean, I always thought it was a great story, but I'm old and I don't know. What do I know?
It's just frustrating. And there have been so many issues with this movie so far where people, they try to go woke and then it backfires. So they wanted to do away with dwarves altogether and then just have, some menagerie of magical different creatures of all different shapes and sizes and colors, whatever. Now dwarves are they're not, they would be playing dwarves, but little people, actors, are upset because they're not getting the role in this film that was essentially written for them. I mean, this is the same argument that the left has, why are you choosing a white actor when it's a, whatever the character is. So they have doubled down on this. You shouldn't whitewash or, all these Hollywood films and actors, and now they've essentially done the same thing to little people who I'm sure would love an opportunity to act in this film, and now they're not getting it.
Yeah, I mean, stupid.
They also made that decision, by the way. They made that decision, by the way, to promote equality or inclusivity. I don't know how that's inclusive to exclude little people, but that's Disney.
All right. I just had enough of Disney. You know what? Target with the talk. Now they're being sued. Disney's going in the tank. ESPN. Maybe they saved themselves with Penn. I don't know. I've had enough. I'm not drinking Anheuser-Busch. I've had enough, and I'm not shopping at Target. And I'm no longer buying Harry's razors. And Hayley, I'm not mad. It's not like, Colin Cowherd said that we're all mad. I'm not mad. I'm just not doing it. I mean, it's just,
right.
I'll support who supports me. There you go.
Absolutely. All right.
Give it to me. What do you got?
You farted on me.
I think you pooped on you.
Going back.
Yeah. Yeah, kid.
You farted on
That's
me.
right.
I think you pooped on you.
Yeah. I remember. You want him back? I remember when I got pooped on the first time by my son Andrew. I remember going, what is this black stuff? What the hell are we doing here? But I hung in there. That's pretty cute. That's got to be yours, by the way. That feels like yours. Give me another one, lady. What do you got? That's got to be yours.
America is a
want him
nation
back?
that can be defined in a single word. I was in the foothills of the Himalayas with Xi Jinping, traveling with him. And that's we traveled 17,000 miles when I was vice president. I don't know that for a fact. America is a nation.
Joe Biden's a joke.
Look at this word, Hayley. Look at this word here, Hayley. Look at the word that
I don't know what word he was trying to say. I was in the foothills of the Himalayas, true pressure. I don't know. It's very confusing. And I think at the end there, he said, I don't know that to be a fact. It's like, yeah, that's pretty much the prerequisite. That's what he should say before he says anything.
If you end everything with, I don't know that for a fact, when you're up there and, you're supposed to be giving facts, I mean, as a president, does, and I'm asking you this, it could be anybody, does the ending it with, I don't know that for a fact, does that give you cover for being a liar?
I'd say no, especially if you're the president of the United States. I mean, that's like when someone says something really offensive and they say, but no offense.
Right.
Well, that didn't help. Just said something really mean and I'm offended. So that doesn't help the cause.
Somebody once told me, maybe it was Game of Thrones. This might have been on Game of Thrones. They said, whatever happens before the word but doesn't matter. Whatever you say before but. Dan, you have a really big, ugly face, but, you're kind of a nice guy. All right, I guess, I don't know. Anything said before the but, throw it out, right? Throw it out. Anything before the but.
In that case, I agree with you.
Like, come on. Thank you.
All right.
What's going on? What's next?
Thank you. Appreciate it. How you doing? Oh, no. A little bit further. A little bit further, young lady. You're so close. Right, so close. How's it going? I think he knows who we are. That's not where the cart goes. It is literally loose on an angle, and it's a two-spot split. Come on. Oh, she gave me, I don't know if you saw her there. She just mouthed, you're right. Sorry?
I don't know. What were you saying?
You left your card out, blocking the spots.
I don't think I blocked any spots. Everybody's parked.
Well, that's the whole point, though, is that once one person does it, it makes it a little bit harder for the next person.
You're right. And I'm sorry I did. Unfortunately, I have a bad hip. You know what? That's pretty uncool. Because since I have to have hip replacement surgery, you think you might want to not laugh about.
Well, did you have your hip, did you need surgery when you walked in the store?
Okay. So are we going to have this conversation?
Yes, it's my job, is to have these conversations and to teach folks. And you have a partner with you who could do it for you. I'm sorry? All right, there goes the hood magnet.
Did you just hit my car?
No, it's a magnet. It's
Yeah, but that's assault.
I don't think you know what that word means, number one, ma'am.
Actually, do you have a lawyer?
Okay, well, give me the definition.
I'm sorry, what'd you just do?
I put a magnet on the car.
Yeah, okay, we're going to call the cops on that.
And what would you like to say about that? What's the charge going to be, do you think, ma'am and sir?
It's called assault.
Well,
definitely don't know if that's assault. So the account is called Cart Narcs. And this is a person who goes around and yells at people who don't put their carts back in the cart corral in the parking lot, which I think is rude. It's such an easy thing to do. Just walk. The woman claims all of a sudden she has hip problems. It's like, and the person knows that they're doing the wrong thing. And then as soon as they get called out for it, they're all defensive. And it's like, you knew you were doing the wrong thing. You didn't have a hip problem when you walked into the store or out of the store, so you can't walk an extra, 20 feet to the cart corral. Give me a break. There used to be a show on, I think it was ABC. I don't know if it's still on or not, but it was called What Would You Do? And they would put hidden cameras in situations like this to see what people would do. Like, are you going to do the right thing? And are you only doing the right thing because cameras are rolling? So I think in that case, she's okay with doing the wrong thing when she thinks that no one's watching. Unfortunately for her, the cart narcs were watching. So
the cart narcs, we got cart narcs. I will tell you this, and I will tell you this. I always put my cart back. Always.
Yes, you do.
We had,
man,
Hayley, we have a Walmart here on the south side of Indy in Beech Grove that literally put a mobile home out there as a police station. That's how bad this place was.
Wow.
And there's a legendary fight. You can look it up on YouTube. I think it had 10 million views maybe, where two big gals, big ones, one got out of her wheelchair. You know how you wheel the motorized cart? She gets out of this thing and is throwing hands with this other, and one of the mom's kids starts beating the other over the head with a shampoo bottle. My point is, people in stores are nuts. She's riding around in a cart because her lazy ass didn't want, or a scooter, because her lazy ass, she wasn't handicapped. She just didn't want to do anything. People are lazy.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, she didn't want to walk. But as soon as someone starts throwing hands, then she can get up and start fighting someone. People are honestly, I don't know when that was, Dan, but I swear people were bad before COVID. But once COVID, everyone was locked in their houses. I swear everyone forgot how to be a human being.
Yeah, that one was before COVID, and I actually played the video, and I did a ring announcer's voice with it, and the bigot throws a left, and Stretch Pants backs up and throws a right. It was class. I'm going with the baby. I like a little kid getting pooped on and saying, hey, you want the kid back? I love that one. What are we talking about? Look at this thing. How cute is this?
I don't think I've had a win in a while. I don't think I've had a win in a while.
You've been on a... No, you've been on a losing streak. Congratulations. Thank you. Last thing, you are the lady about town. What's going on this weekend?
I think I'm going to play golf this weekend. I played golf last weekend, and I played pretty well. I got a birdie, hit some pretty good drives, so I'm feeling good, and I'm going to get back out there and practice.
Very nice. Very nice. Last question. You, again, as the lady about town. For my birthday, which is coming up next week, I told my wife, I go, hey, I want to go to the Nickelback concert. Do you think less of me because I'm excited about going to a Nickelback concert?
No, and Nickelback was here in Nashville not too long ago. He's on tour, and there were a bunch of Canadians. We were doing man on the street interviews. All these Canadians were in town because I was asking people American history questions, and everyone was like, I'm Canadian, I'm Canadian, I'm Canadian. So I was like, what are all these Canadians doing here? Apparently Nickelback is Canadian, so that's what they were all in town for.
Really? What's his name? Chad Kroeger. Chad something. He's Canadian.
Yeah.
Who knew? I just know I like him, and I can't wait to go, but I'm catching hell. I'm catching hell. I don't know why.
Own it. Look at this photograph. Yeah, own it. And Rockstar.
Yes.
Those are the two songs I know, but enjoy.
I guarantee, Lee's like, well, do we know any songs? So I started playing. She goes, I know that song.
Yeah.
Yeah. We go once a year. We do something VIP. Like we get probably a limo. I mean, just once a year. We just say screw it, and that's what we're doing. Nickelback, baby.
Ball out for the birthday.
You.
Love that, man.
Yeah. At 29 years old, it doesn't come around often, but as you can tell by all of this, it's certainly here. Thank you, Hayley. Monday, special announcement. We got Tim Tebow on the show coming up on Monday. We had Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, today. I know we had some technical difficulties. Hey, look, that's what we do. We got technical difficulties once in a while, but we got through it. Hayley, thank you so much. Nick, thank you so much. Of course, Dylan and Ryan and Katie, our whole crew, Aaron, and of course, our fearless leaders, Gary and Clay. We thank you all. By the way, as I said, we will have Tim Tebow. We're going to be talking about a number of things, including Tim's interest, which we all should have a hell of an interest. It's insane that we don't, but I got to tell you, his interest in child trafficking, which he is doing a great job of. Beth is our new booker. She's doing a great job. Thanks to everybody. Willie Colon was outstanding. The governor was outstanding. Mark Harris was outstanding. Hayley was outstanding. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend, everybody.